Whenever you're ready,
Hey
Deshaun.
y'all, welcome back to the Coco and Confidence podcast, where the most beautiful thing you can wear is confidence.
Come on, you better let them know, girl. This season, we are exploring high-level conversations around who championed you. We are making time to amplify extraordinary girls and women to learn all about how they are showing up and staying sane at this time in history. There's a lot going on that could have us emotionally, mentally, and financially jacked up, but for God, because of others in our lives who support us, we are thriving.
This show is powered by Project Diva International,
Woo woo.
a personal and professional development organization for girls in middle school and high school. The purpose of this podcast is to encourage girls to think critically about how they are showing up and for parents to have insights into what teens are thinking about in the world around them.
Do you think that's important, Deshauna?
Yes, I do, because girls grow up not knowing themselves, not being able to have an opinion about stuff, and really just
Mm.
not knowing how to speak out against things they don't agree with.
I love that you're that articulate about it. And what I love about it too is that you use your voice, right? Like a lot of
Mm-hmm.
times, well, not even a lot of times, this whole school year as a 10th grader, you've been hanging out with Tommy over at Talent by Tommy because your career interest is that, right? It's cosmetology. And so to be able to use your voice to say, hey, this is who I am in 10th grade, and this is what I want to achieve and accomplish, like you're one of the girls who are doing it. So I want to first give you your flowers and your kudos
Thank you.
for
Thank you.
you welcome, girl. Because you've been over there doing it. You've been showing up on time. Miss Tommy loves you, right? She respects and values your intrinsic drive. You know what I'm saying? So, and I feel like this is a show that where we have all created this platform to show people that you all know what you want, you know how to go and get it. We just need to be able to listen. So, you want to introduce?
Yes, I do. We are going to welcome Miss Kenya McKnight Ahad, owner of the Zara and CEO of the Black Women's Wealth Alliance.
Hello, hello.
Miss Kenya, from my research, I find you hardworking and present. And what I mean by present is you were present for yourself, for your business. You met with people to further evaluate your business, and you just went out of your way to make sure you are in the place you are now. Can you share with our audience some things about yourself?
Um, Hello. Thank you for having me here. Yeah, like what kind of things? What kind of things you want me to focus on
It
about my
doesn't matter. You can speak on life. You can speak on how you brought up your business. It's a lot of things that these girls want to know.
Okay, okay. Let's see. I About me, I'm an artist, so I my art shows up through interior design and then my spoken word. So I've been doing that for a long time. When I was my first business, I was a the neighborhood hairstylist.
Mhm.
So I did that from the age of 12 until I was about 24. And made a lot of money on the side. It was my job, right? But I worked a 9 to 5 too as a team. But I just loved helping people feel good, look good. So I would do their hair and ended up making a lot of money doing that. And then thirdly, would say that I am what I'm a big auntie, so I have 20 some nieces and nephews. Yeah.
Ooh.
Wait, we gotta sit with this. We got three stylists on the call. Shut y'all mouth. Like legit. It's embedded in us as Black girls. We know that. But to hear you too, I went to school here and I'm in Omaha, Nebraska right now, and I went to school here. We have to get the most hours, 2,100 hours, right? But like you said, before then, I was doing it out the kitchen. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And because I was doing
Yeah.
out the kitchen, so many of my cousins was like, "Can you?" I was like, "Well, I might as well just go get legit, do this."
Yeah.
That is so cool. I never knew
Yeah.
that about you, Miss Kenya.
Yeah, that's part of my oh man, I was the so I used to do the cornrows, but I was well known for my waterfalls and my cluster. Remember those cluster? I killed the cluster game. And the shops tried to get me, they tried to recruit me. I just wasn't, I didn't want to be in no shop. I just liked the way I was doing it. And so, but yeah, I was Thursday through Sunday, I was busy.
Come on. That's so
I feel
cool.
you when you say that. I am a busy child myself. So, anyways, I am a spiritual teen, and like I believe in what they call God, and I just believe in things like that. Um, were you thinking of your spirituality when you were young?
I didn't think of it in that way.
Mm-hmm.
I come from a very Southern grandmother who, was born in Columbus, Mississippi.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the second generation born outside of the South. And she was sanctified in church. So I went to you know, when we moved here to Minnesota, I'm originally from Kankakee, Illinois. I've been in Minnesota since I was 6. But my mom would send us home every summer to spend with her family and our father. I have 4 siblings. And we stayed with our great grandmother, and she would take us to church. And we had to go to vacation Bible school every summer and church every Sunday. So that didn't feel like spirituality. I just, you know. So I would say in my life now, um, maybe the best thing to say is that I've always felt a connection to God. Since I can remember, I've always felt connected to the sun. Um,
Mm.
Certainly as a little girl at 5, 6, and as an 11, 12-year-old is when I had my first direct experience in knowing that God was real. And in that, since I've lived my whole life on that premise of being a spiritual, call myself an ancestor baby.
Mm-hmm.
And my work, my life, everything I do is guided by that.
Wow. What made you
That
ask
was powerful.
that? What made you
What
ask
I
that,
made
Dakota?
um what made me ask that was pretty much I grew up in a world with teens my age. They would rather go have sex, go drink, just do everything that's rebellious and sinful in God's eyes. And me, I'm still on my spiritual journey, still trying to go by God's rules and just follow his way for me, follow his plan for me. And doing that, I see the miracles that he brings for me. At the beginning of this year, I asked God to help me stop being so like taking things personal, and I asked him for patience. God is giving me the steps as I grow to just get patience, how to deal with things, how to not take things personal, and just to believe in him because he is going to be there for me.
How do you know?
I know
And
because of the
yeah, you
changes
can
in
hop in
myself.
anytime too. Yeah, you can hop in anytime too. How do
I
you know?
know because of the changes that he has made for me. And I can see the changes that he made in me. I can see the improvements in how I react and how I go about things or just how I think.
Hmm. Kenya, when you think about the kids that are growing up now, like your nieces, your nephews, the kids in the community, what do you think about where they are? Like what that looks like for them?
I think about they they've grown up very fast, based on the access to information that they have. You know, it's
Mm.
coming from so many different angles all at once. And I think just having those many experiences outside of, you know, the physical world, accelerates them and without having enough context of
Mhm.
how to understand or use the information, process the information they have. They're just rolling with it. So I think that I see that. I also see a lot of ancestor work through them right
Mm,
now.
yes. Come on.
They don't necessarily see or maybe know it like that, but I see a lot of ancestor work strong through them. They're ushering in a new era of holistic health, healing, culture, and wellness. They're very strong in that. They don't, some of them are aware, but yeah, I think we're in a, my aspirations for them is, you know, they just need us more, you know, to help contextualize and support them through, because we working intergenerationally out here. So, but I think they need
Yeah.
a lot of support in contextualizing and processing the information, and knowing how to root a little bit more into the ancestral energy that they wear.
I love that. I definitely agree with you. I definitely agree with you. And I commend you, Deshauna, for even bringing it up. Because a lot of
Yeah.
times y'all don't even really bring it up. Like I don't hear you. I don't have a lot of conversations with y'all around that. In the community in Project Diva we do, but it's not, I was surprised that you brought that up with Miss Kenya. So that's what's up. Miss Kenya, what do you think about like, well, when you were growing up, like in Project Diva, one of the things that we're focusing on are the girls' emotional, mental, and financial um, behaviors and health, right? And when you think about, our goal is to ensure that these set of girls that want to really understand how to walk into adults, being able to make some decisions that will really ground them. Um, when we were growing up, what was it like for you? What I'm from Omaha, right? So I don't have the context of the Minneapolis streets as a teen. I have them in my 30s. So what was it like growing up in Minnesota on the north side when you think about the emotional, mental, and financial trajectory of yourself?
Yeah, good question. So, you know,
Pause, pause, Miss Kenya. Deshauna, where is you at? You can't keep going off screen, girl.
My bad, y'all. Had to get something to sit on, y'all.
Girl, all right, you back? All right, we're ready, Miss Kenya.
so we navigated a lot, of course. And for me, it was, I'm from somewhere else, so I didn't grow up with like a history of families here and stuff like that. My family is in Illinois. I
Okay.
have a big family. I have like 50 something first cousins, and so I have a huge family I come from. So, but you know, we just here with our mom. Us four, my four siblings and I, and a network of folks who we moved here to Minnesota together. So, but growing up on the north side as a teen was, it was actually mixed with a lot of things. And it also, depends on like the kind of environment you in. So I grew up in what I would call the hood element, right? And my house was a lot going on. I had that house on the block, the parties, the this, that, the shootouts. I mean, a lot of things I, seen before, I seen a lot of things, Nika, with my friends and a lot of girls, being sexualized, and
Yeah.
a lot of domestic violence, and you know, we shot dice, all kind of stuff,
Mm-hmm.
parties, and ran the streets. And I mean, I came home when I wanted to. At 12 and 13, I didn't run away from home. I walked away. And I had a lot of freedom and choice in what I decided to do, because for me, the streets were safer than being at home. And the way I seen things for me. But, from that standpoint, from a household, it was you had to be very independent. had to make
Yeah.
decisions. I've been making decisions for myself since I was 12 and
Mhm.
about what my security looks like,
Mhm.
you know, what my life looks like, literally, you know. And
Mhm.
on a social front, we had the park systems, you know, the schools, a lot of resources around the north side. You know, we had a good social and cultural, you know, until we became teenagers. It was different. It was more violent. But I was a cookie cart kid, so I worked at the cookie cart at 11, gave us
That's
away,
what's
you
up.
know.
Yeah.
So I'm an original cookie cart kid. I hung out at Commons a lot. That was our stomping grounds.
Yeah.
Um, all the parks really, but North Commons because we lived by it. And
Mhm.
we was at the projects. I lived in the projects first, where it's now Heritage Park. So that's where
Yeah.
most of us live, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we couldn't come past Broadway in some ways or Lowry, you know. So he was
Yeah.
concentrated down there, and we was living, doing our best, having fun. But um, my household, I was navigating. I was also in a little clique called the Dominators, you know, where like 20 some girls, and I was the leader, but I didn't know it until later. I said, oh, I'm the leader. I'm the leader. Okay. It's crazy. Um, we was terrorizing Broadway, you know, breaking into Freeman, 7 Miles, Target, um, hanging out on
Yes. When
Broadway.
Target was over there on Broadway.
Yeah,
Yeah.
where Cub is, you know, we used to go
Yep.
in there and get our little white girl tennis shoes and still, I mean, we was just in, you know, so I we're still in obviously poor. We try to work at the parks and stuff, but it was yeah, that's we swam at Franklin Park, Franklin
Yeah.
school. That was the where we went swimming at all the time. And North
Yeah.
Commons. So
Mhm.
yeah, it was a lot. We did a lot of stuff.
And Miss
So when you
Kenya, can I ask you, um,
go ahead.
growing up, having to go through all of that, how did it make you feel at that time? Having to start your adult life at 12. How did that make you feel?
I was, you know, so I was always like the whiz kid, right? Like double promotion from the second to the fourth grade. Stayed on, you know, top of the list at school. I was tutoring sixth graders and reading at fourth grade. You know, I was always a genius in that way and excel at school. I still do. It was not my issue, but the instability at home. We moved around. Like when people say where you grew up over north, I'm like everywhere because we literally like, you know, we moved like a couple times, 2 or 3 times a year sometimes. Felt like it may not have been, it felt like that. Um, and I just didn't feel stable. And you know, when your house is, you know, um, um, when your house is like the house right on the block where it's getting
Yeah.
shot up, there's dope being sold, older guys are harassing your friends, and um, you know, I was always like the leader of my family, like protecting my siblings, and I'm not the oldest, but I function that way. I'm her in the family, and um, seeing my mom, you know, all the domestic violence and stuff, it was just so I felt really unsure and of, you know, just what to expect, you know, from home, but I was super determined to figure something out for myself. And that was the thing. And so that's the part right there. Where I was making decisions for myself that was about not trying to be cool, but trying to be safe, trying to be
Yeah.
protected, trying to provide for myself. So I hustled and, you know, went to, you know, work at the cookie cart where then I can go to Subway and buy me and my siblings something to eat, a sandwich, you know, from the earnings I made. I was doing here so we wouldn't just be looking bummy. You know what I'm saying? Washing our clothes out in the tub, things like that. And, you know, standing up for my friends from bullies and, you know, from my siblings and stuff too. So I was quiet. I was introverted. I didn't say much, but I observed a lot and can sense, you know, things that weren't right. And when my mother wasn't in a position to stand up for what was right for us, I did. So I was her. and willing to fight with adults. And if that's what it took to be safe and to be respected and understood, for myself and my siblings, and willing to cook, figure it out, provide, put wallpaper up in the kitchen because the walls falling down, trying to rake the yards, whatever. Mama gone and we ain't heard from her in a couple months. So I'm figuring it out, going to school, taking care of her children, helping my siblings. So I didn't have the luxury of being concerned with my feelings and all those things. I just had to get into action, do some work, because somebody had to make something work around here for our benefit, and somebody had to pave a different way. So because it just had to be better than what I saw. I knew that because of where I come from
Mhm.
and my family
Yeah.
at home.
Yeah.
From my great grandma.
Come on.
So that was a
I
lot,
love
but that's what it was.
Yeah. And I most definitely relate and understand to your story. It was a lot, but that is what made you who you are today. And it gave you character. It further developed how you were going to set up your life later. And I love how far you have grown. I love the information that you're giving us. I love how you're letting females, males, people that are just going through a rough time know that they're heard, and you can start off very low and you can make it somewhere far. Now, I would like to ask some questions about your company and like what you do for it.
Well,
How
before
would you
we even
say?
get to that, Deshauna, I would love to ask you, Kenya, where was the pivot? Right? Like talk to the babies about the pivot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. I do. Thank you for that. I was actually talking to somebody about the pivot yesterday, last night. It's funny. Um, the pivot was, look, we was out here, like I'm always the one that I'm the friend who worked a job, right? I'm the one that, I have a lot of different friends that, all kinds, from thieves to bust downs to jump out the car on you to, going to church. I mean, it's just different. I have a variety of different types of friends. But I was always the one that would work the job, trying to figure this out, like, driving in a certain way. And I had another friend who was just like that. So I actually latched on to her when we were 14. Um,
Mm.
and I didn't know some of the things she knew. So I learned a lot from her, like, how to take care of yourself, your personal hygiene, all this other kind of stuff. And then we got into a program called Project Solo, back in the days. And that helped us because it helped us get an ID, learn how to do a resume, taught us how to formally, wash clothes, separate, how to grocery shop. And we can go in that spot anytime they was open. We could just pop in and just write in a book, like our progress journal. But we could go eat food, wash clothes. We can do whatever. And it was great. Like, it helped me transition from where I was and helped me be in a safer place. It was over south on 26th and Park. And so um, that was like part of my safe haven and how I started to transition. Now, I was still going back and forth because it was my world, and the pivot was that I was in the middle of, when Minneapolis gained the title Murder Apples, right?
I remember that. Yep. Mhm.
So those were my friends dying on both sides. And I was sort of in the middle of some of it because we dated guys on one side, we went to school and hung out and grew up with the guys on the other side. And
Yep.
it was real tough. And a lot of people died, and I saw a lot of blood. And I've been around a lot of gunfire. And one particular morning when I was leaving, and we have gotten into fights, all kind of stuff. There was other stuff going on. We GD folks on the north side, and we hanging out on the south side with the Bloods, and because we cool with them, but then we get into it with the girls, and it was just a lot. It was a lot going on. And I remember I
Mhm.
was 17, and that fight that I had, me and Kizzy, my friend, with Blood Girls, like 20 of them jumped, you know, we just scrapping. It was a lot. But the biggest turn was when I left my boyfriend's house that morning. He was taking me home, and I was right here on Plymouth and Emerson or Fremont. And we was leaving the Bannekers, and the ops at that time where they were feuding would be, you know, the Black Stones. So the GD
Yeah.
folks and the Black Stones, both from Chicago, was feuding with each other real bad. And so happened that my mom's husband, his cousin, was married to the leader of the Black Stones, right? And I was dating one of the leaders of the folks, and it just was a lot. um,
Yeah.
it was going down, and guys were pulling guns on us all the time when they seen us, but they didn't shoot us because we grew up together. And they like, "What you doing?" And we like,
Yeah.
"It's my boyfriend." They like, "No."
Live it. We live
uh, they're not sparing people today, but they were sparing us. But it was the last sparing that I got in my life, and I changed my life that morning, because when we left in his vehicle and we stopped at the stoplight, Plymouth and you know, Fremont there, and the car that was coming the opposite direction was one of those guys, and they stopped right there, like, so we side to side, and they pulled their guns out, and I'm like, it was more of them than us. It was just me and him. So it could
Yeah.
have been a real scenario, but they knew me. They looked over and saw me, and they sat there for about another few seconds and then pulled off. Right? That's
Yeah.
because they knew me. They weren't worried about taking him out. It was a war. And so
Right.
that was my signal right there. You understand? Like, from God, from my ancestors, like, baby, look. And that's exactly what happened. And I flipped it, and flipping it was, I wasn't hanging out no more. I would see them when I
Yeah.
seen them. I moved on. I got in a whole different relationship, which wasn't a good one, but it was better than what I was in at the time. And my life began to just move in a different direction. And even when I got out of that relationship, which was control, domestic violence, it was, you know, a lot. My first time experiencing those things. And I left him when I was 22. And
Yeah.
I've been where I am on the path I am since then. And I ain't never looked back.
Come on, because when you know, you know. And I love how you started this conversation with the spiritual piece, talking through that our kids are doing ancestral work, right? Like the ancestors is all you can see it. And then to speak about how that moment was and how it was ancestral, right? Because that to me, I want the confidence crew. Like I need y'all to just slow down and just sit with that, right? Because a lot of times all you all can see is the right now, but you don't see all of the dynamics that are working in your favor because of those who have come before us, right? Because
Look,
of the connection to the spiritual piece. So Deshauna, I'm glad that you asked that question, and I'm glad you brought it full circle with that, Kenya. That was
I
beautiful.
mean, God is always present. I mean, I could go on and on, but look, I didn't been homeless, sleeping on benches, bus stops, and parks, and all of that. And it was nothing but God that was protecting me through that, because I was after freedom and safety and security in a way that I just didn't have. And so, because of my great grandmother, who covered us in that, that protection was there. And my connection to nature, always been a naturalistic kid too, is what helped me also stay in tune with the spirit. And I'll just say this last piece on that is that, being 11 and I was walking home, I lived on 17th and DuPont, and I was leaving my cousin's house, who lived on 18th and Fremont. So we're literally around the corner from each other. And as I got to the side of my house, I saw a white van, right? And we always taught the white vans were, here to kidnap us. And this was true. And I saw that white van, and something said, "Jump in the bushes, it's coming back around." And I
Mm.
heard that. And I thought, oh, and I'm 11. I jumped in the bushes and I waited. And guess what? It came back around.
Come on, come on.
And that was my first real direct connection and understanding that you understand, about God and my ancestors, and they got me safe. And I ran in the house because it slowed down and it was looking for me. I seen it. And so I've been obedient ever since to my best ability.
That's beautiful. Come on, sis. Get drop the jewels. Drop the jewels. Yes. Yes, yes. Okay, Deshauna.
Okay, so that was that was powerful. That knocked everything off the charts.
Mm-mm.
You filled my jewels up so much.
The
I would
bag is
like
full.
I would like to ask about like some things about your company and just how you like run it and like who it helps. How would you say your company supports the community?
Yeah. Shoot. So the company that I work the most in right now is the Zara, which I really, really love. Um, and the Black Women's Wealth Alliance is my legacy work. I've, done it for the last 11 years. I have a few more years with that, but it has helped the community through, I think, just really trying to inspire and support, Black women in their goals to be successful. We've done that through different little events and workshops we've had, trying to share information, trying to encourage people to, grow themselves, trying to, connect them to other dope individuals who are sharing things, and also just sharing our knowledge and what we have and what we knew worked or not, or what makes sense. Then we had resources where we can give them money to pursue their goals and things like that. And we would also advocate, in a lot of spaces on behalf of Black women and girls, and just, really the Black nation and what that means for our progress, our future. So we're able to shape a lot of narrative, a lot of policies. We're able to direct billions of dollars, influence concepts, all sorts of things that, turns out to be resources for our community. So here in Minnesota and across the world, honestly, have consulted people from other countries around different strategies, and certainly across the country, our country here. So in that work, I've helped to usher in the foundation of normalizing what it means to support Black women economically. That trickles down to, yes, Black girls, Black families, and the Black nation. Um, for 11 years, I've done that. And that company, the company I am most engaged in now, the Zara, um, basically it is a holistic wellness, um, facility that offers a holistic health and healing care model for what I call foundational Black Americans, those who are, direct descendants of enslaved Black people. In that, we provide a few things: space for Black women practitioners to provide healing and wellness services. We provide some of our own direct services, as well as, you know, um, a space for, we have an apothecary here, so we do medicine. We have a free clinic that we allow the community to engage as a way for them to test holistic wellness if they've never tried a ionic foot soak, acupuncture, massage. We have a Himalayan salt room, again, apothecary where we do natural herbs. We do red light therapy, a variety of different things that folks get exposed to through the clinic that we administer. So we're helping the community heal, and connect to their spiritual roots, but to rejuvenate themselves so they go out in the world, even stronger.
To be able to grow up in the community that was challenged during that time in history, to come back and heal it. Baby, like that, that is the most comforting thing to even hear. Congratulations Miss Kenya. That is everything. And I see you. I see you doing it. You know what I'm saying? So, it's beautiful to watch. It is absolutely beautiful to watch. Now, even knowing your story deeper, that is amazing.
Thank you. I'm sitting here at the Zara, in the cafe as we are just trying to get our cafe going too. So,
Come on. It's done. It's to done. That is so beautiful. Mm, mm, mm.
That
Oh,
was powerful, Miss Kenya. Um, so for me, I am a teen that pretty much like you. I do go out to some places that are far, but I am naturally and normally a South Side kid.
okay.
How would you say for teens that are not usually used to the North Side, what are some good ways to get over that fear of not being safe if we wanted to come to your business?
Okay. Yeah. Well, firstly, let me say I was a South Sider before I was a North Side. Um, I lived South Side for 2 years before we moved over north. We had affordable houses, so we over here. Um, and I hung out at Powderhorn Park a lot, Sabbatical Community Center. So those are my places around there. Oh, and I went to Lindale Elementary School. So yeah, I mean, I think that safety is something that should always be top of mind, no matter what side of town you're on. Black women and girls come up missing more than anybody else at the highest rate. And so we need to always make sure we're safe and have situational awareness, meaning understand what's around you, different things that might trigger you or, make you suspect if somebody's following, watching, all of that. You just got to be mindful of all of that, where you sit when you're on the bus or how you carry yourself in the Uber. I know Miss Nita go over all this stuff, so I don't even need to, but I'm just saying that needs to be irregardless whether coming over north or downtown, same approach. Um, I think the convenient thing, well, not even convenient, but what's safe is that once you get here, so you just gonna, if you're on a bus, I'm on a bus, 5 bus come during the day, be out the city or off the north side by 7 o'clock. Okay. And go back to where you're going unless you're Ubering or something like that. Ubering, or if you get a ride. But if you have to take a bus, I'm on number 5 or in the 14th bus line. So once you get here, you're safe. There's not people hanging around the site. So you're not going to see that. You just got to watch out for fast cars. But when you get here, you're good. The door's open. Call me if it's not. And we're good. No one's inside. The only people inside is who we want inside. And the only people that, the ancestor energy allowed in there inside. But we're protected on this land. This land is sacred. It's your ancestors' land. They want you here. It's peaceful. There's a way for you to exist here in many different ways, whether you want to sit outside in our rose garden, at the cafe, upstairs in the chill lounge, in the salt room, so Zara
And
is
I
safe.
love I definitely agree. And I love how you said that's everywhere you go because black girls are black women, black girls, people love to take us. We got the magic and they want it, right? For whatever the reasons are. And so no matter where you go or what you're doing, that has to be top of mind. Um, that's good. That's good. That was a great question. Because I feel like we don't talk to you girls enough about safety. Like I don't think there never can be enough conversations around that. So thank you for even bringing it up.
Yeah, my
As we
auntie
want,
told me, oh,
go
sorry,
ahead,
go ahead.
go ahead, go ahead.
She came to visit, my family came to visit one time. I might have been like 23. And I had my own place in Robbinsdale for a little bit. And she was like, hey, when you come home every day, you make sure you have an object in your hand and you walk through this house. You get on the phone, whatever you need to do, walk through the house and check every part of the house before you just sit down, as a single you need to make sure you secure yourself in this way. And so it's been at the top of my mind. That was the first time I think anybody's ever had a conversation with anyone about safety was with my auntie.
I love that. I had the same talk. You have to keep something in your hand and you survey the house before you sit down. Yep, as a single woman. That's good. Come on, keep dropping the jewels, kid. Because these are things that, I think sometimes we take for granted because we grew up with it, but they don't have all of this info. So that is so good. As we wrap up, I just wanted to just touch on, you mentioned it a little bit, but like, who championed you? Who would you say championed you along this journey that you would love to give flowers to?
Uh, you know, probably more people than I know, to be honest with you. And certainly my great grandmother, was a big champion through her prayers. A lot. She prayed. Remember those psychic hotlines? I used to call it a psychic hotline. Stuff and be like, and one of them psychic was like, "Woo, this is lady. She is. Oh, she be praying for you and the whole family. Who is this lady?" I said, "Oh, that's my great grand." And so that's foundationally true. I'm gonna say it's always been the people of the community. Like, mostly people I don't know, I'll be honest with you, who's always found a way to lift me up. And they're proud, especially when you grow up in a place and, I see people that somebody might write off as a bum or something like that, but they know me. I know them growing up and they like, hey, I still got your picture when you ran for office on my refrigerator. They proud. They like,
Yeah.
keep going, Kenya. And so, and I'm thinking of these Black men, man. I'm not, but it's really been these brothers, man. I definitely get my love from the sister, but these men have held me. They've loved and respected me more than I've loved and respect myself most times growing up, to be honest with you. They've protected me. They've not treated me like I was trash. They've always made sure they looked out for me as best as possible because I was special to them. Even when I didn't know what special was to myself, they protected me. They didn't let other men take advantage of me and things like that. And they made me feel special and know that, in fact, I don't call myself queen, they do. And
Come
so
on.
I appreciate that love and honor that has come from men in my life. I mean, yeah, I've had, men not do, treat me right, and I've had my violations and things like that. But overall, they've been the ones who've invested in me as mentors, as, people that's, supported me in my growth and development and reaching into my undeveloped ways to help me learn how to develop my interpersonal skills, and taught me about finances and budgeting, and taught me, I think about Lewis King Jr., was a fierce mentor of mine, and he stayed on me, right? He didn't let me just, fail. Like, he required that I brought myself to the bar. They taught me how to do consulting work, how to be strategic, and as much as I was able to capture. And, just he taught me how to make money and how to put my stuff into action and how to move out here in the world on this stage politically and all of those things. And so it's been so many down the line. Lewis King and my uncle Shamsuddin, who ultimately helped me develop the confidence that I needed. And he told me some things that stuck with me for the rest of my life. And he said, look, he who controls the image controls the reality.
Come on.
And if I can tell you everything about you, then I can control you. Don't you ever let anyone else determine who you are. You always decide who you are and you stand in that. And he said, you have no superiors except for God. That's the only superior you ever have.
Come on.
And
Yes.
that there shifted me into a level of confidence that sometimes come off as arrogance, because it is a knowing that he placed there in me and brought out and took this introverted, person who seen a lot, didn't say a lot, and flipped it into someone who stood more confidently in who I am and had a lot to say about all the things I've seen and still see. So those two men, um, that came along in my early 20s and mid 20s through my 30s fundamentally helped me shift into who I am today.
Mic drop. That was when I tell you confidence crew, y'all gotta grab that. I want y'all to rewind this, watch this over and over, especially just to sit with that part, because what y'all should not do is listen to what the world calls statistics when it comes to Black men and the Black families, because they legit are with us. I too have a father and a bunch of uncles and male cousins and men in the community who have shifted who I am too, and made me understand the power that I have. So yes, confidence crew, rewind that. Rewind that and just sit with that by itself. That was beautiful. Congratulations, sis.
Yes,
Congratulations. All right. We're gonna wrap this up. Deshauna, what kind of jewels do you have? Well, before we even have last jewels, do you have any final words, Miss Kenya?
look at you. Congratulations to you. I remember
Thank
coming
you.
to the Capri for my first Project Diva, and you've always been the beautiful, smiley soul that you are. And thank you for just continuing to pour into, our girls, but also us, and look
Thank
at you now, like I'm still getting 12 years later, right? Or so. And so thank you for inviting me here to share, for the younger Kenya to show up and share today. I think the only thing that I would leave with is that what is fundamentally true about the whole process, as me being the younger version of me, is that, I didn't wait for permission. I didn't wait for a training program. I didn't wait to be encouraged. I just acted out on what I knew was right and my desire for better than what I was experiencing, and nothing stopped me, and nothing ever will. I mean, I was curious to the end of what that meant, and driven, for my own success. And it's not like success like, bam, look at me now. It's success of like, I'm getting out of this dirt I'm in. And I don't have a pathway of how I'm going to get there, a roadmap. I may not even have adults. I got me and God, and I'm gone. And I'm going to just figure this out along the way. And I trust God, right? And I trust that whatever I'm getting into got to be better than what it was, what I came from. And I kept it moving. And the most important thing I did was choose different friends, and
Ooh.
allowed myself not to be defined by my family circumstances, the situation I come from, nor the people I come from. I defined myself and continue to move in that way. And I have a lot of different friends, but I definitely cut that base of friends from that old life, because everything can't go forward. It wasn't my job to bring them forward. My job was to bring me forward. And our part of the journey has concluded. But your friends, the people you choose is very important. So I just want to leave that there. It's really important who you choose as your friends, without a reasonable doubt.
Thank you, sis. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so
Shauna,
much.
bring us on home, baby.
Well, you have dropped so many jewels in my bag. And what I want to take away from what the knowledge that you have given me and probably some of the other girls, I love how you spoke about your spiritual journey and how you took your grandma's spiritual guidance, her prayers, and you listened to them and you went along with the plan that God had for you. I liked how you spoke to us from what you really were and didn't try to hide anything or sugarcoat anything from where you are now from where you were. I love how the little quote, I even wrote it down. Who can control the image can control the outcome. That is something that will stick with me probably till I get old because that relates to me a lot. I am around a lot of male figures because I am in high school, but I also go on, I don't know if you know what Lake Street is, but that is a very populated city where there can be a lot of bad things going on at once just based on how that area is.
Yeah.
And I'm told every day by male figures, pretty much my dad, like, you need to know however you are coming off and however you are showing up is it doesn't matter what if you're wearing something baggy, if you're wearing something tight, people are still going to see you how they see you. And the last few jewels that I have gotten for you is don't wait to be encouraged. Start when you are inspired and also don't be defined. That took you dropped so many jewels because in my spiritual journey, I defined everything by my family, by friends, just based on everything, like everything that I was told I went off of. And it took me into this dark hole, pretty much me not knowing who I was. And I'm very thankful I'm very thankful to you for dropping all of those jewels inside of my bag.
Thank you.
Confidence crew, what jewels did you get? Drop them down in the chat. Also, drop in the chat if you are a teen thinking about starting a business. And if you are, what business would you like to begin?
Well, there it is. Miss Kenya, once again, this was a favorite right here. This was so juicy and so good. And your heart just for Black people, for women, for us, it's just so beautiful. So thank you so much for carving the time out of your day to spend it with us. We really appreciate you for that. And
Yes, thanks for inviting me.
yes. And
Thank you
confidence.
so much.
Confidence crew, you could have been anywhere in the world, but you chose to be here with us, and we love you for it. We will see you next time on Coco and Confident, where the most beautiful thing in the world you could wear is confidence.
Confidence.